Jay, I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about attending, the origami events and just that culture and that feel. You and I, like you said, we've attended hundreds, maybe even thousands of events over the past 25 years, right? So we've seen it all, and the origami events are unlike any other. So maybe tell us, what that experience was like the first time you went, and the things that stood out on how the field also has bought into this culture.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned before, the first time I went to the event, I was just amazed, and I'll never forget sitting in the back of the room. There must have been 5,000 people sitting in that convention center, and just everything from seeing you and Bella on stage, and then having it just bleed into the other leaders that were on stage, and then even more so, watching the audience just in how engaged they were, and many of them will raise their little hands and demonstrate with a little heart and providing support and giving back. And so I have just always been amazed. And so Chrissy, we'd love to hear a little bit about your event strategy, and maybe share with us a little bit about what during this pandemic. I mean, here we are, we're approaching a year in with COVID-19, and many clients obviously that we work with, like you, have had to transition into a more virtual experience. And how have you been able to maintain effective events and be able to have some of that touchy-feely experience that you would normally have in person, but you've been able to do that with your virtual events?
Okay, I will chat about that. And first, let me just say, for all of us in this industry, it is hard. It is hard to have COVID as a barrier. I don't think there's any one of us who haven't suffered the effects of having that disconnection and trying to figure out how to stay connected. I mean, honestly, we all have those events every single year, and it's people coming together that makes such an impact. I think that what really drove and drives the conviction around our culture in the field is that we live it, we breathe it, they feel it, and we have enlisted them along with us on a mission that's bigger than ourselves, being a part of something bigger, getting out there and making an impact in the world. We do a lot around pay it forward day, and ensuring that we are constantly inspiring random acts of kindness and goodness in the world. And so I really think that it is based on, they feel it coming from us. And when you model that and they know this isn't a gimmick, it's like, it's just like who we are. It's in the DNA of all of our founders and our team members at the Nest. And so I think that exudes. I think the other piece of it is, we care about them. To me, we call them designers. Some of you might be distributors or consultants. Our designers are everything. I mean, other than God and my family, I live and breathe for these people's success. I think about what they're going through in their life. What's happening? What successes do they need to have? What things are they struggling with? And I think that they feel that compassion and empathy and genuine desire to help their life be better. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the perfect, corollary for me with that, where it's when they can feel that, when you can have that connection with the field, that's when I think you really get people to buy in and be on the same page. Because I've seen great executive teams, but then it gets lost in translation. But I think one of the great things about your culture is it's adopted by both, the field and corporate. And I love how you say that. Many of your designers can recite the mission statement from memory. And so it's a part of everything you guys do. And I just love that. Now, you told us a little bit about how, during COVID, you've been able to adopt, getting successful stories or people who are struggling. It's not all about, hey, we've got this promotion and everything's fine and dandy, but how have you been able to take people's stories of overcoming difficulties during this time and be able to apply that to your events, to make these online events successful and make them real, where then it becomes applicable with good takeaways?
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that when we chatted about that I brought up is that, every company has top achievers. You have those who are just defying every odd known to man, the runners, the ones who, like, you're in awe of what they do. And then you have the mid group, and then you kind of have everyone else. Well, I think we're really purposeful in not just promoting and talking about those and sharing those who have wild success, right? Because everyone wants to hear from the successful guy. They want to know, hey, what are they doing so I can duplicate it? But we also chat to and share the stories of those who are struggling, who are saying, hey, here's what's going on and here's what I'm trying to do, so that there's so that it's relatable. Because the realistic the realistic view of most of our demographics world is they're working a part or full-time job, trying to get their we have a predominantly female demographic, trying to get the laundry done, dinner on the table for the kids, and then now you add in homeschool and all of the insanity of 2020, right? So in our events, we really tried to meet people with understanding and say, hey, we see where you are. We understand that it's been a tough year, and that's okay. Let's give you some tools so that you can be successful even through the adversity that every one of us is facing. So it's tough. I mean, the online world and virtual events are not the same. And yet I think through connectivity, emotion, storytelling, that we've done a pretty decent job in staying connected with our designers.
And I love that concept. And whether you're able to get them, live to present, or you mentioned sometimes recording someone beforehand and sharing that, right? Depending on your technology, can be a way to maximize that.